The interstellar object 3I Atlas is now surprising us with something completely new. We have new images. No, they're not the NASA images that they have done with the HIRISE telescope early October. They still have not released these pictures, probably, I think, due to the government shutdown, but who knows? But we have now new images from the Nordic Optical Telescope in the Canary Islands in Spain. And I'll show you these pictures, but there's something mysterious happening that kind of falls in line with a theory where everyone thought that's crazy. Aliens hint. So we have to look at this, guys. No, I'm seriously, really, let's look at that, because this thing, while we first think, oh, it's a comet, right? Now we know. And then we think, oh, now it's exactly doing that it would do if it wasn't one. So Canary Islands, Spain, the Nordic Optical Telescope. So you see here various pictures. So the latest ones that they have released are from September 24th. You see the evolution of the glow around 3I Atlas, and you see that there is a transition from the anti-tail towards the sun to a tail away from the sun. And the brightest pixel is marked by a red dot. That's what you see here in the pictures. So sunward is to the west in these pictures, and the distance from the sun at each date is expressed in units of the Earth-Sun separation, AU. So keep that picture in mind when you hear what I'm about to tell you. So 3I Atlas is entering our solar system from the cold darkness between the stars, from where we do not know. It's only the third interstellar object that has ever been discovered, but 3I Atlas is even different from the first two. And now 3I Atlas is doing something that nobody expected. We know it has reached perihelion. It's not visible for us right now. It has started to reach that yesterday. So now the sun is between Earth and 3I Atlas. We lost sight. And in the Canary Islands, very, very high up, there's a powerful telescope that has caught now something extraordinary. Glow around 3I Atlas has flipped direction. For weeks, we have seen that its tail has pointed towards the sun. An absolutely odd feature that is called an anti-tail. But then, when we see the new pictures, it switched. The glow began to stretch away from the sun like a normal comet. Good, everything normal, great, or not. Something inside the object has changed. Normally, comet tails do point away from the sun. Solar wind and radiation push dust outward from the comet. It's like a giant invisible breeze. But sometimes, from the Earth's point of view, that tail appears to face the wrong way. So it could have been an optical illusion, but it also could have been something real. And to see an antitail is rare. I've reported in my last video about why this antitail is most likely not an optical illusion, but it is rare anyways. But seeing one disappear and reverse direction in just a few weeks, that is even rarer. In July and August on the pictures, the antitail was clearly visible. And then now that we have the September pictures, by September it was gone. So it would be really interesting to have the October HIRISE images released. So by September, anti-tail was gone and was being replaced by a bright tail stretching away from the sun. And now in October, we have lost it, right? We can't observe it from Earth anymore. So the last known images from HIRISE, we don't know. We haven't seen them since October 3rd. So what is happening? 3I Atlas is made of ice and dust, that we know. And as it drifts closer to the sun, the solar heat begins to eat away of it, right? But the ice doesn't melt, it sublimates. It's basically turning straight from solid to gas. And that gas then escapes into space. And that's dragging clouds of dust and ice with it. And this creates that glowing halo and the beautiful ghostly tail. And the data that we have from the James Webb Telescope have revealed what's inside. And we have about 87% carbon dioxide, 9% carbon monoxide, and only 4% water. Basically, that's a cocktail of frozen alien ice. And the Webb Telescope has measured an ice loss of about 150 kilograms every second, so 300 pounds. That's roughly the weight of a little bit heavier person every second, vanishing into space. Then in July, Hubble telescope has captured something dramatic, this long jet-like anti-tail that was shooting towards the sun. And especially the scientists Avi Loeb and Eric Keto have studied the image and have proposed that sunlight was bouncing off tiny ice fragments ejected by the comet. And then those shimmering ice grains made the anti-tail look almost like a jet engine, pointing straight at our star. And because I've mentioned Avi Loeb before, and some people were writing in the comments that he's a douchebag or whatever. Guys, really, just because he has another theory that is most likely, in my opinion, not true, I think we should listen to him. Because if you look at his bio, he's the head of the Galileo Project. He's the founding director of the Harvard University's Black Hole Initiative. He's the director of the Institute for Theory and Computation at the Harvard Smithsonian Center of Astrophysics. And he's the former chair of the Astronomy Department at Harvard University from 2011 till 2020. He's a former member of the President's Council of Advisors on Science and Technology and a former chair of the Board on Physics and Astronomy of the National Academics. He's the best-selling author of a few books and papers. So he's not some idiot. And you've heard in my videos that he has the theory, if 3I Atlas, and he gives it a chance of 4 out of 10, was an alien spaceship, the moment when they would do something is when we reach perihelion, because then we can't see it anymore and it could change its trajectory and it could come down to Earth. And so now it is changing, it seems, the tail, which in his theory, which he says that's not that he thinks this is 100% likely, but he says it's a theory that we still should keep in mind. Because there are some anomalies with 3A Atlas. So this change in tail could be a change in engine thrust of a spaceship. Guys, I'm telling you about this. You make your own opinion. I'm not giving you any direction. I just find it interesting. Because the guy's not some bogus tinfoil head guy. He has the knowledge and has access to the data. So what are the physics behind that slip, if we think it's not an alien ship, right? As 3A Atlas now moved closer to the sun and the temperature was getting hotter, the tiny ice particles that once have reflected the light now vaporized in seconds. And what remained were heavier, darker dust grains, and these survived long enough to be blown outward by sunlight, forming a new classic tail pointing away from the sun. So the comet has changed form before our eyes. And it has, between July and October, it has lost approximately 2 million tons of material. That sounds really massive, but if we compare it to the total weight of 3I Atlas, over 33 billion tons, it's just a tiny thin layer, and it's only about like an inch and a half, like 4 centimeters deep. So basically a tiny skin that peeled off from a 3.7 miles, 5 kilometer wide object. And the heart of 3A Atlas remains completely untouched. And if there's any secrets in there, it's still locked inside. That this thing is alien, we know that, right? But is it just an alien rock? That's the question. That's why there was this bold idea. What if it isn't a rock at all? What if it's an alien craft and that anti-tail was its braking thrust? If so, according to Avi Loeb, if that was the case, the flip from anti-tail to tail would make perfect sense. A controlled slowdown before entering a stable orbit between Mars and Jupiter. That would then be a techno signature, a hint of intelligent control. Of course, there is no proof, but still the thoughts sends down chills to one's spine, doesn't it? I mean, the aliens are the last things that we need. But on the other side, as crazy as we are right now, there's been reports, right, for years now that all of a sudden nuclear bomb facilities have been switched off by alien forces. That's what we hear from official sources. So maybe the aliens are coming to prevent us from going to nuclear war. Who knows, right? Really, guys, I think it's a comet. I really do. But the theory is interesting because if that is technically possible, should we once really see an alien spaceship, we know what it's going to do, right? So what's next? So as 3I Atlas is closest to the sun, perihelion, it will be blasted by over 33 gigawatts of solar energy. That's the power of 30 nuclear reactors. And that is hitting its surface all at once. And then later on December 19th this year, it will pass closest to Earth. And that's when we will finally learn if this is just another comet or if it is something far stranger. But whatever, what is exciting, guys, what I really think, this is a fragment from another star system that has traveled millions of years through the void, and it's now crossing our sky. I think this is amazing. And whatever 3I Atlas is, it shows us that the universe is alive with motion and a lot of mystery, and maybe, just maybe, with something else. So I hope you liked it. If you want to know more technical details and all the anomalies, click the link here in the end screen. If you want to know about earthquakes, volcanoes, click the other links. Subscribe, hype this video. I see you in the next one. And if you want to fill me up with coffee, the link is in the description of this video. It's greatly appreciated. Thank you, guys. I see you.